Hi.
Hi, just to switch
Who's
things
a
up.
good girl? Who's a good girl? Give me a good ruff, ruff.
Dude, I can make this of your eyebrows make the ears go up. It's
Oh,
damn cute.
nice, nice. Try one of them, like one like this, and let's see what happens.
No,
This.
both still go up.
Oh, no, no, no. Good, good. They're in sync.
I can't do the other one.
Uh, What's up?
So
What's
yes.
up? How have you been?
Oh no, hold on one second. I'm trying to like the comments are completely covering your face. So I feel like
Oh, okay.
I wish there was a way to like
Hey, how do you
I
get
don't
one
know
of
how
these? Okay, fine. Let's just see. Let's actually do one with this. Let's try and see what's happening. Oh, damn. No, no, no. Seema auntie will not approve of this. Yeah, no, I'm just sticking to the normal one. I'm pretty happy about this.
yeah, I'm gonna keep the dog because I think it's cute.
Yeah, sure. Let's do this.
And it like has this beauty mode thing happening. So Pimplesh decided to stay because he was really excited about this week's conversation.
Oh,
So he
nice.
didn't
Yeah,
miss
yeah,
out. So he's still here. Hi,
yeah.
Pimplesh.
Hello, Pimplesh. How are you?
He's on his last limb, I think, like on the last
Oh,
leg of his
damn.
life.
Oh, damn. Okay,
He
fine.
missed.
Yeah. So this might be the last time we actually chat with Pimplesh. We'll make this a special one then.
Yes, we shall. So
Nice.
hi, how are
Hi.
you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I really enjoyed the live commentary while you were watching the show
Yeah.
with your
So
Seema auntie is best.
Seema auntie is awesome. Yeah. So I flipped out on this show. Hello, betas. I'm Seema from Mumbai. Arey, auntie, आप ही का तो इंतजार था यहाँ पे. But so yeah, basically I saw the whole show and I remember texting you in the middle like, do this. I can't wait till Wednesday to talk about this. I can't wait till Wednesday to talk about this. But I did something pretty interesting. What I did
Yes.
is I saw the whole show. I binged it like in a couple of days, but I didn't read anything about it. I didn't read, barring a couple of articles that were sent to me by my sister who also watched it. Just one, I think, in the middle, which we may bring up later. But I didn't read anything else, you know. And so any opinion that I speak about right now is the opinion that I got purely from watching the show, more or
Okay.
less, purely from watching the show without being influenced by anything I read or analysis and stuff. So I thought, I mean, you've been watching this, you've been talking about it quite a bit. So I thought this would be pretty interesting to do.
Yeah.
Hi guys,
So
thanks
she,
for joining in. Janvi, hi, hi, hi everyone. I had a lot of people texting me actually like, okay, what do you want to say about this? You know, and a lot of girls especially saying, okay, what do you want to talk about this from like a male point of view
yes.
and stuff. And I imagine it's pretty interesting. But yeah, go ahead. Tell me what you thought about the whole thing.
See, in terms of the female perspective, I think we have flogged a dead horse. Like it's been talked about enough. There are enough, thought pieces in everything from the New Yorker to the local newspapers. It has been covered and beaten to death,
Mm.
which is, of course, that women are expected to be more flexible and are expected to. Okay, this dog thing is really kind of like distracting me. So turn it off.
Surprisingly, I'm taking you still very, very seriously right now. So yeah, it's
Really? Okay, then I'll keep it. Let's see how long this lasts. So, the women are expected to be adjusting and oh, I like this.
sorry, I don't know why this happened. Go ahead.
And that men are allowed to like reject 150 people if they want to, and it's not questioned. Whereas if a woman, asks for something more or is not happy with what she's presented, then she's like deemed negative and stubborn, etc. Which I honestly didn't see that while I was watching the show, but I did read a lot and engage in a lot of conversations around it afterwards. But I think what I noticed during the show was that I have a mental checklist. Okay, I definitely have a mental checklist in terms of
Like which
how
you
I
have
categorize,
in a partner.
yeah, the
Mental
people that
check.
I meet. So there are some people who, first of all, you have to be attracted to them, and then there are different categories, right? Like this is a casual, we'll see how it goes. This is like husband material. This is like it's never going to be a thing, but it'll be fun to like see how it goes, kind of category. Like I'm trying not to use explicit language, but whatever. There are the fuck guys and then the boyfriends, right? Like there's two categories.
Yeah.
I think that applies to both men and women, honestly. So I always had this mental checklist, and I saw them listing out those checklist items for each candidate. And it didn't seem super cringy to me because I'm like, I totally do that, slash, have a mental spreadsheet of things that I'm going through as I'm interacting with somebody. But people were talking about it as like, oh, it's such a shallow way of looking for a partner, this and that. I'm like, are you kidding yourself? Because I 100% guarantee that you do this with every person that you meet. So there was a little bit of
It's not so
hypocrisy.
explicitly done. You might do it subconsciously, like less.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I feel like there was a little bit of hypocrisy coming out with people acting all like holier than thou about the show, like, oh, how can you commodify human beings, etc. I'm like, yeah, it's as pretty normal, I think, if you just introspected a little bit and if you were a little more self-aware, you would see that also.
Yeah.
So that was the main thing that stuck out to me during the show was that categorization, because if Seema Auntie asked me today what I want, I would have a very clear list. And it would be a very long list. And I'm sure that I would get trolled like Aparna if I were to get into all of my criteria. So I kind of felt empathetic towards the people who are participating, but it seems like they were like trolled more than they were empathized with,
So you mean to say the people who are participating were trolled more than, say, someone like Seema Auntie?
Yeah, and I feel like unfairly so because, dude, this was not even the worst of it. Like, I have seen these forms, like paper forms that my friends have had to fill out, which, oh my God, like literally all the boys want fair, good looking, willing to stay at home, good cook. And all the women want like high earner, good job, steady salary, etc., etc. Must be tall, all of that. So that felt much more shallow than this. I feel like this was, at least Seema Auntie was asking about their interests and asking about their plans for the future, like talking about their careers, all of that. Like I felt like she was fairly open-minded, honestly. She is an accurate reflection of what society wants, so we can't blame her specifically. It is what society is, what society requires right now. So I feel like there was a little bit of like extra demonization when in reality all of us kind of do the same thing in a less formalized way. Fair. That is my summary. What about you?
I have a few. Okay, so first of all, I think it's one of the best documentaries I've seen in a long time. Genuinely speaking, it's very intelligently told, and the fact is, in a documentary, like the idea. I mean, every documentary is made with a different like point of view or a different purpose. Some are meant to shock you, some are meant to move you, some are just meant to tell a story. So, I mean, it's created a lot of furor and conflicting opinions is something that the person who's made this, I forget her name, she's done a fabulous job of that. That is something I feel really good about. And the fact is that I don't know what exactly. I know that there's been a lot of talk about it. Everyone I've spoken to who has told me to watch the show. So I tend to watch things like after the whole hype of everything dies down. So that's why I saw it pretty recently, and I probably would not have seen it if we were not doing this chat. But every time someone, thank you so much, like genuinely. But I feel like everybody who was watching it when it was just out told me about how cringeworthy it was, and I went in thinking that this is going to be like a shitstorm, but I was very, very taken aback.
It's not.
Like, very, very pleasantly surprised. I personally don't find anything cringeworthy in it. I mean, it is hilarious. I like people and situations make me laugh a lot. So I was looking at the families and I was looking at the kind of things that people, as we all, and look, whether it's a matrimonial setup or whether you go on a first date, there is an impression you try and convey. And sometimes people just go like to the other extreme in trying to do that. So in serving amuse bush and showing it was beautiful. Like it's amusing, it's entertaining, and fine. I can laugh at someone without judging them. It's cute in a way, even I would say. But
it's endearing, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite endearing, and I actually think that the people who thought that this is such a bad reflection of the matchmaking process, this is a very sanitized version of how it actually is and what it actually gets like. This has not touched upon so many issues. There are so many, like this doesn't touch upon so many issues that I do not feel like I am very well equipped to deal with it. But this is stuff you read about every single day, I do not think, I personally am a fan of Seema Taparia because she has, like, objectively speaking, without making this sarcastically funny or anything, I genuinely feel for the woman. She's trying to do a job. She's just trying to do the best of it. And if there wasn't a market for it, she's simply catering to a demand. She's only going about, like she says in the beginning, that look, it's just me trying to, I feel like this is my purpose, this is me trying to do it. Now, she processes the way she does it. But these things, these are criteria to keep in mind. So, sorry, can you see and hear me?
Yes, you're back.
Yeah. I mean, if I think, if I think there was something cringeworthy in the show, it was like people like Akshay's mom, for example. Hilarious, like amazing, absolutely amazing. And as someone who just liked laughing at people in general, this was gold. But now I want to talk about the male and female part of things, where this is someone who is, look, I'm just talking from my point of view, and I do not know what all the furor was about. I don't personally feel like it was biased towards men being able to reject women or women having the upper hand in anything, because everybody had a checklist, and even women had that same checklist of tall, slim, trim, whatever. And the kind of flack that people are getting, like, okay, whatever, it was pretty balanced in the way it told the story. But I feel like it's very one-sided in the feedback that is getting, in terms of, oh, how can you, there are memes that, oh, am I flexible enough for you now, Seema auntie, am I this, am I that? Like, dude, she told the same thing to guys. And everybody knows in any relationship, there is a kind of a compromise that's being made. So it's not like she told the women something and she told the guys something else. She told them both similar things. And there was another very interesting moment in this that I thought about. And there was this girl, Ankita, when she goes to the counselor who sets her up with that other guy who turns out to be a divorcee. So she says very simply that, look, women traditionally, if you go according to tradition, women tend to give more of themselves emotionally in a relationship. Now, that is an analysis. You may agree with it, you may not agree with it. Whatever it is, that's fine, it's up to you. But what she came about saying is that, oh, why are you trying to portray me as inferior? Whereas, like, I don't see, how that would come about, how that judgment would come about. That's more about you and your prejudice at that point in time than whatever the person is saying. And ultimately, the show wouldn't exist if this wasn't reality. Very simply. It's hilarious. Some parts of it are cringeworthy, but it's true. My only worry or whatever, like I was thinking, people probably have a very weird impression of Bombay folk as of now.
About this show.
Yeah, because it's all people from Bombay and stuff, right? So
Yeah. One segment of Bombay. But to your point about Ankita and that Geeta auntie, I think what irritated me there was that she expected Ankita to be willing to drop everything and move to another country if her husband decided to do so. Whereas, see, I understand compromise is required in every marriage, but I feel like that compromise has to come later and it has to be gender agnostic. So let's say if I have friends who are married, and if the woman had a more lucrative job opportunity or a more exciting job opportunity, then the husband moved with her. So that has to be taken into consideration, I think, when you're talking about somebody who's built her own business in Delhi and she's killing it and she's doing really well, then why expect...
I feel like this whole idea of coming on the show was kind of like a plug-in for her jeans denim business.
Yeah. Well done. Well done, Ankita. Also, is Vishnu Kaushal here? Oh my God, I love Vishnu Kaushal. I hope you're still here, Vishnu. Oh, I'm a big fan. We'll come back to that. But I feel like that part was a little unfair. When I agree with emotional investment, but that doesn't necessarily translate to...
How do you know that's not a conversation she would have had with the guy? Because see, I'll tell you what, there were moments in the show when Seema told, for that matter, she even told Pradyuman, she told that fellow who was having a lot of trouble, Akshay, with the weird mom. So she told them the same thing. She said that you have to compromise, you have to adjust, you have to be willing to be flexible, you have to be... So my point is that you're looking at one side of the conversation and saying that it's not like at any point in time she said specifically, oh, if your husband finds a job, you will have to move.
She did though. She said
Oh, she did?
specifically. Yeah, she said if your husband needs to move to Timbuktu, you have to be willing to move with him. And you
No,
can't
she
tell me
asked about
that.
her views. She said that would you be? She said, would you be willing to go with the flow, which is a personal choice. Frankly, if
Yeah.
like because as far as I'm aware of it, like these seem like preamble questions to if this is not if you want someone who's settled in one place and not going to move and stuff like that, that's fine. So she's not telling you have to be willing to do it. I think the context. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong over here, but the way I understood it was, what are your views on this? What are your views? Because this is what I've noticed.
Okay. I think maybe from the reason I and many women came to that conclusion is because we've had these conversations with aunties thousands of times. So we have been through these equations where, some auntie would ask you like, oh, there's this nice boy in America, and I say like I don't want to move to America, and they say, why not? Like America's great. I'm like, I lived in America and I chose to come back and I want to stay here. And then they make you feel like you're being dumb, like you're letting go of such an incredible opportunity to like move and like be with his husband. I was like, if he's willing to move to Bangalore or Bombay to be with me, then that's great. I have no problem with him. I just have a problem with relocation. So I think that's the kind of irritation that all of us felt, is because we've had that conversation before.
Yeah.
I agree with you that maybe it was just a preamble. Of course, we only see what the editors allow us to see, right? And what the directors allow us to see. We have no idea what's been altered, what's been taken out of context. I'm sure there was plenty that was taken out of context also. So I hope for all of our sakes that is the question that she asks the boys also. I would love to believe that. But I think maybe the fact that almost every woman I know has had that question posed and has had that told to her, that she should be willing to move, she should be able to give up her career, she should be the one to make all of the adjustments. I think that's why that reaction was so visceral from women, like, again, like, and all of us kind of gaslight ourselves also, right? Like, we have this conversation in, like, let's say at a wedding, some auntie comes and says, like, this is this. And you leave the conversation kind of wondering, like, did that just happen? And you sort of brush it off. But then when you see it on TV, you're like, it's not in my head. This is happening to everybody. So I think a lot of the rage came from there, is that we saw it happening. Like, it was documented footage at that point. Of course, it could be portrayed to elicit that kind of reaction. In which case, it's a damn good job by the director and the editors.
Like, people are talking about it, so like they've achieved their purpose in it.
Yeah, exactly. So that was that.
The thing is that this is absolutely true. There is more of a pressure that even women of our generation would feel compared to guys. That is absolutely true. Now, I mean, I don't know where that's coming from, or I can't comment on it, because there have been I would imagine a girl of my age would be facing like 2 or 3 times the pressure to like find someone and settle down as I would be facing. So I completely understand where that is coming from, and I think but the show kind of focused a lot on look. This is a traditional process that they focused on. Now, if you want to go by Indian tradition, there is the whole arranged marriage, which by itself, there is a reason why that came about. The reason was, now I don't know why they go only specifically to the guy's house. I don't know what the specific reason behind that is. But the reason that they ask the woman all these questions is because she is going to that house.
Yeah.
Now, if they were to interview, guys who are living separately, bachelors on their own, not living with the family, maybe you would have had an entirely different show.
Maybe.
You are only dealing with those people who come from business lines of family lines and who are moving, and for them it is clear that they're going to continue living with the parents.
Yeah.
So you're looking at only one strata of people. I don't know what the stats are on this, like how many people are actually living in joint families with their in-laws and stuff. But I imagine the situation is quite different for people who don't want to live with their family or live in a different city altogether.
Yeah, that's an interesting question, actually. I have a somewhat, actually, it's unrelated, but so we were talking about the expectations that women have to adjust and move and be the ones to move to their husbands' houses, etc. So there's a similar expectation that men have to have a stable job and a steady income. So I have actor friends who went through the arranged marriage process, and they kept getting turned down because they were actors and freelancers. So there was this whole career uncertainty, income uncertainty, and like, oh, he's an actor, so he's going to be like surrounded by beautiful women, and he's going to be doing like song and dance and intimate scenes with them. So,
Mhm.
is he the right one? So, from your perspective, both being a freelancer and an actor and of marriageable age and unmarried,
Thank you.
what kind of what kind of pressures are you being put under?
To be honest with you, look, okay, at the cost of talking about my very personal views on this, I think I personally view it as an understanding between two people. And like as an actor, life is like, especially at this point in time, we have no bloody work. Like it's damn unstable. Like these things, these prejudices or these biases, they don't come from nowhere. Like it is true. If you
Yeah.
are a freelancer, you do not have a stable income. So you can't go ahead if you have a blueprint for your life thinking, "Arey, 5 years later this is gonna happen, 10 years later that is gonna happen." Like Akshay's mom, of course, तुम्हारी तो शादी होने वाली है, अगले साल बच्चा, अगले बार तुम्हारा बच्चा, this. So you can't do that if you're in a
Yeah.
freelance, you know. So I mean, it's not something that even I would entertain, because if I am going to be looking at someone thinking that, oh, I want to spend the rest of my life with this person, I understand that that person is also like, giving up a lot to have this, union, which is what marriage is. So I should be willing to shoulder my part in that responsibility, So as a freelancer, it's hard to even entertain that thought in yourself, It's quite difficult. And there are times that you feel like, shit, I wish for some stability in one aspect of my life. But because of your choice of profession, because of your life and all of that, it kind of, spirals into a whole lot of other things. And half the time you're preoccupied thinking, where am I going to find that income or that stability regularly in my own life? And then I can think about, devoting time and attention to someone else. So,
Yeah. So it's like a
yeah,
non-starter right now. It's just
yeah,
like,
it's absolutely a non-starter. I mean,
okay.
I feel like that's a pretty healthy approach rather than just walk into something, blindfolded and think, and then feel your way about something. And you wake
Yeah.
up one day, 1 year later, and you're like, shit, what the hell
Resentment.
is happening right now?
Would you be willing to, I mean, just hypothetically, marry somebody who had like a super steady, like high paying job, and she is like the steady breadwinner in the family?
Am I going to get a DM from someone after this conversation? Because it seems
My
like
mother.
eventually
My
need to
mother is
smart
going to
about
DM you.
it.
Forget other people. My mother is going to DM you. I
Oh
mean, I
my
don't have a
God.
high paying job, so that's out of the question. So this question is not applicable to me, but for anyone else who's interested.
Oh God. Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, the way things are pretty different now. The way we look at women and men in relationships, like at least it is like one of the partners has to have, for the sake of security or whatever, one of the partners should probably have like a job or some kind of stability in their lives, and then the other partner should, be supportive at that point in time. I've noticed this, and I've seen this in my parents' marriage also. Like at different points in time, they were both doing very different things in their careers. So they kind of took their own decisions, keeping in mind the other person's situation at that point in time in their career as well. So I think that's a very healthy way of looking at things,
Yeah.
which is what I feel. Someone like Ankita's dad was trying to tell her, that
Yeah.
as a partner, that support goes either way. It's not only to say like the guy will have to support you. There'll be times when you may have to support the guy or whatever, and
Yeah.
you should be willing. Like you should be with a partner who's probably willing to meet you halfway on that, in the same like wavelength. Wow, this is
Yes,
a lot of
I agree.
advice for someone who's very very single right now and very very nowhere marriage in sight. I have all the answers on
We
both
are
of
the least qualified people to be talking about this, about like actually sustaining a marriage. But I
yeah.
think we are the most qualified to be talking about the pressures of being unmarried at our age, which is too old.
Yeah,
At least for
yeah,
me, I mean, it's obvious that my eggs are drying up and I will be of no value as a woman and human being once I'm no longer able to reproduce. So I'm, just trying to outlive this ticking time bomb. But I think guys definitely have a little bit more time, right? Like the pressure doesn't come in as early.
it does. I mean,
Yeah,
it does at some point in time,
the
but then
dog, the husband, like
sorry.
it does.
It
Does?
it's doing that flappy thing over there. Yeah, it's true. I'm not going to deny it. This is one thing that is very very skewed in the way you look at it. Like there are different expectations for guys, but just getting married as soon as you can or are of marriageable age, yeah, yeah. So Aishwarya saying guys face pressure at 35. I mean, Akshay was barely 25, man. So spare a thought for that guy. But
Dude, that guy.
yeah, yeah. Like there is also that pressure. Yeah.
So does it start around the same time?
No, it starts a lot later.
Okay,
It
so you
starts a
agree that it
lot.
starts later. It's
Yeah,
definitely a
absolutely.
thing.
Yeah, but you know, there's a different way of looking at it. Like, for example, if it's known biologically that women emotionally mature earlier than men. And I'm only talking physiologically. Okay, make of this what you will. So, in a lot of relationships where you see guys older than the women they're with in heterosexual relationships, it is because naturally there tends to be a difference in their emotional maturity, and maybe I don't know what the figure is, but I think it's between 5 and 6 years. That is considered to be a good thing. I don't know where that came from or whatever, but there is one way of looking at it like that. But then
I
again,
am sorry, go ahead.
like I know so many people who are in relationships with like the opposite way, you know. So there's no generalization about the whole thing. There's no hard and fast rule.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna pull a Priyanka Chopra slash Malaika Arora
Yeah,
Khan.
yeah,
And
exactly.
my future husband is currently finishing his education. He's still in college, I think. So, he's 19 now. So I'll give him
Yeah.
some time and complete his education and then, be a cradle snatcher in another 5 years or
As
so.
soon as he gets as soon as he starts like growing a full beard, I think that's when you know you swoop in with it. Like, swoop in with it.
So you are coming back to the show. Which
Yeah.
character did you relate to the most?
In what way?
Like, I feel like I resonated a lot with Ankita. Like, she was like my soul sister on that show. I was like, I get a girl. So I
Yeah.
related the most to her. Was there anyone that you related to?
I don't know, man. I was just so happy watching the whole thing, like so amused.
You didn't
And
put it good.
I didn't know. I didn't beyond a point do that. Yeah. But I'll tell you who I found the most amusing. I'll tell you that is Akshay's mom for sure. Like
Yeah.
Akshay's mom killed it. That
Yeah.
moment where she tells her son that she checks her blood pressure and she tells Akshay, "Frame kar lo isko. ये तुम्हारी गलती है." And she sits at the dinner table and she tells Akshay that तो तुम्हारी वजह से इनका बच्चा नहीं हो रहा है. And he's like, मैंने क्या किया? मैंने किसी को नहीं रोका है. I mean, the poor guy, man. It was so amazing to watch. But that's
Next
true.
level.
I mean, it's kind of scary that a lot of guys tend not to have emotional maturity, and which is why you just if you look at a partner thinking, oh, I'm just going to get like a carbon copy of my mother, 25 years younger, that I personally don't think that's a very good idea. I really do not think that's a good and healthy way of looking at things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you're not looking for a life partner, then you're just looking for a caretaker. I mean, you could like hire a nanny, no? Why you need a wife if that's your criteria?
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you want someone to iron your socks and serve you food, like you can get a nanny to do that. You don't actually need a wife. I think for me, I like the one that irritated me the most for very personal reasons was Pradyuman, because I feel like I have come across so many Pradyumans in my life.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I feel like in my circles, there's so many of these like super rich, like douchebaggy boys who are just like, bro, Dubai chalte hai, bro. Like, what's the scene? Like, let's go get a yacht in Thailand. And it's just like, and all of them have a very similar like requirement for their partners. Like, she has to just be like gorgeous, and she has to look like a model, and she has to come from a super wealthy family, and she has to look great at as my arm candy at parties, and like there's absolutely nothing else that's required. Like that date that he went on with that actor chick at the stable, that
What kind
cringe
of animals do you like?
conversation, it was just like, so what else do you do? Being glamorous. And I'm like, throwback to every time my mom has Zabardasti introduced me to somebody at a wedding and be like, oh, this is so and so uncle's son. They have 3 Mercedes. Talk to him. And then both of us are like, it just scared me now. So
Yeah.
he like really aggravated me because I feel like I've just seen too many of those. Did you have any of these reactions? Am I the only one that
Oh
had like
man.
trauma brought back?
On dates, let me think. There's definite Ankita. Like people who who they come across as very driven and very strong. It's really admirable. That quality is fucking amazing. Oh, sorry, I can't swear, right?
It's okay.
So
Whatever.
that quality is really amazing in people. I really appreciate that. But it's been like like sometimes it just goes to another level altogether. Or actually, the one person I found really amusing, Aparna. I have come across so many Aparnas. Like,
Really?
yeah, like just this.
Like Sobo girls.
I don't know, Sobo girls or whatever, but like there's so many Aparnas. And for like if somebody, there was this whole hate wagon of Aparna and stuff like that. I mean, she was stuck up, man. It's okay. It's no big deal. She was stuck up for some time. She opened up. Fine. This is not a judgment on people. It's just how she is. And yeah, a bit.
Okay, if you had
I really like the fact that she said, "Oh, I like hate comedy. I hate the outdoors. I hate my job. I hate this. I hate relaxing."
yeah,
She hates everything. I'm like,
yeah. I'm
"Pasand
like,
hai?"
are you okay, girl? Are you okay? Like, you seem like you hate your life.
Yeah. Like there was
Okay, if you
definitely
had
a
to
lot
go
going on over there.
on a date with one of the women featured, who would you
Uh,
go on a date with?
Nadia, for sure.
Yeah, I know, right? She's
Yeah,
too
man, what a
cute.
sweetheart. What a
I
sweetheart. Such
know.
a nice. But
But I have some Nadia
sorry.
related gossip, which I have some Nadia related gossip, which we will get to.
Now I would
See,
like
now
to know
you want
that.
the Nadia
Yeah,
gossip.
I want it now.
So you know how she got ghosted by that boy, no? What's his name? Vinay.
Yeah, in the beginning, yeah.
So Vinay on his Instagram then showed up and said, I did not ghost Nadia. I was very communicative with her about the times that I couldn't make it. And that whole lunch where she was supposed to meet her friends
Yeah.
never happened. Like that wasn't a thing.
Okay.
It was just portrayed to like show him ghosting her, but like that lunch was never supposed to happen and he did not even ditch it. And he did meet one of her friends at some point, and he felt like he was the one who was ghosted and he was portrayed as the exact opposite. Now I don't know, it's very like he said she said situation. So
Okay, I'm gonna rethink the Nadia thing then. Let me see.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's another thing. Like, how do you know exactly what happened? This is just a
Yeah, you
dramatic
can't.
representation of that whole thing. You can't know for
Yeah,
sure.
you can't
Which
know.
is something I say while watching the news also nowadays. But yeah, never mind that.
Yeah, oh my God, that's a whole other subject. That's subject for
Yeah.
another time. I'm trying to think who I would go on a date with, dude, in this whole chaos. I mean, personality wise, Vyasar was really sweet. He's such a sweet South Indian boy. Like,
Yeah.
very
You
like
just
my
want to go and give him a hug. Yeah.
engineering college boys, like very
Yeah.
typically sweet,
He just
trustworthy.
my type in life. I would like to like get
Yeah, and he was very
exactly
like,
this.
I will stay at home, I will take care of the kids, let her go on. And I was like, "Ah, we need more boys like you." Someone was super sweet, but yeah, if I had to pick from the women, I think Nadia for sure. Despite this whole gossip, I would like to see for myself. Also, I feel like I can make her laugh so much. Like she just laughs at
Yeah.
everything. It's so cute.
Yeah.
I feel like I would amuse the shit out of her.
But okay, so here's a question. When a lot of people they seem to like Vyasar like quite a lot, and he comes across as such a lovable guy. He comes across as a really nice guy with a golden heart, very sweet, very loving, and very caring. More than anything else. Like he seems like the kind of guy who would always put himself after his partner, like the priorities of his partner and then himself. Do women find that attractive?
Some women do, yes. Some women do. Oh, there's some gossip in here about Nadia addressed that in the reunion episode. She said that she had receipts too and that he did the ghosting. Yeah, I saw that reunion episode. Did you watch the reunion episode, Advait?
No, man, I didn't watch the reunion episode. What is
I
this?
will send you. There was so Dolly Singh, right? The content creator.
Yeah.
She interviewed a whole bunch of them. It's like a 40-minute thing on the Netflix YouTube channel. I'll send it to you. But yeah, coming back to the Vyasar thing, I know of women who definitely want that. Like I have seen my friends actively searching for that, and they have actually found it. They have found partners who always put themselves second, and they are always super supportive, because the women that I'm talking about are super driven and super focused and super clear, and they are looking for somebody who can support them in their plans rather than the other way around. And so for
Yeah.
them, it is really crucial that they find somebody who is more flexible than they are, because they are not flexible and they are very clear about what they want, kind of in an Aparna's way, where it's like, this is my plan, this is what I'm doing. I have certain parts of my personality are fixed now. I'm not going to change them for you. You want to come along and, go with the flow with me, great. And I feel like that's important in any relationship where, like, one person has to be flexible about some things. Like if one person is flexible about the big things, then the other person can be flexible about the little things, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Like you can't both be super,
Headstrong and what with
headstrong
that
and super
with yeah.
fixed. Exactly, because then you're never going to get anywhere. Like you have to find, either you constantly work to find a middle ground with each other, or one person is more flexible than the other. So there are people who want the Vyasa kind of personality. For me, personally, it was very sweet the way he is, a very sweet person, but I like to be pushed to be better and to do more and to be more ambitious and driven, etc., by a
Yeah.
partner that I'm with. So I think I would lose that spark or that fire after some time. Like if he was just like a sycophant and was always just like, yeah, babe, whatever you want. Like, no, like challenge me, like tell me
Once in
I'm
a while you
wrong.
need that perspective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like let's push each other to do more and be better,
Yeah.
rather than just uh, agree to everything that I'm saying. But there are some women who want that. There are some women who want that kind of support system. So
What I found, there are a couple of points that I actually found when you were talking about this. It was like, a lot of things in the show were made out to be gender issues. Like, made out to be like, oh, women have to do this, or guys have to do this, or whatever. But I feel like there were a whole lot of societal issues in that were not, that no one's talking about. So, fine, you want to take, like, for example, the whole concept of what arranged marriage is now and why people need to go about it in such a way, and the fact that there is so much duality. Like, even a lot of people I see, they have very different criteria for people they want to date and people they want to marry. Like, there is always this difference in the whole thing, you know and yeah, I mean, okay, so the reason that a lot of people have, this checklist, or the whole concept of arranged marriage came about because it's like, okay, your relatives, your parents and all kind of know you and they have your best interest at heart, whereas you may make a decision out of, like, purely, say, you're just physically sexually attracted to the partner or whatever. Your parents would be in a better position to guide you through that. Okay. Whereas this was the good intention behind the whole thing. This institution has been completely screwed to, like, oh, muh dikhai and chai, and go and meet this one and that one, and no, 3 Mercedes, are
Excel
you
spreadsheet.
single? I know. Yeah, all of this has come from just nowhere. Like, this is nowhere where the tradition is. So that, and also, yeah, it's a lot of things that were issues over there are societal, are absolutely societal. In the way we perceive ourselves, the need to, okay, come across a certain way to someone, to impress someone by showing this facade of amuse bouche culture and giving £5 notes with the tissue paper and everything. Like, ye sab kya hai? This is all faff,
Yeah, I agree. I also think there was something else I was going to say about this. Yeah. So there's two ways to look at what marriage is, right? Like I used to be of this opinion that marriage is like a checklist item that you have to go through in your life. Like
Yeah.
it's a thing that you get to a certain age and then you have to do this thing and then it takes you forward in this game of life or whatever it is. It was a checkpoint, it was a milestone, whatever, that I felt like I had to get to. But then having seen, I've had the advantage of having 4 very close friends get married several years ago, and I've seen their entire courtship. Like I've seen them from like first date to now being married for 5 years, etc. And it changed my perception of what marriage is, which is that, let's say you happen to meet somebody, you happen to date them for 3 years, 4 years, whatever it might be. You feel like they are the perfect addition to your life. You feel like you want to spend the rest of your life with them. And then you take the decision to become committed to each other and then continue to live your life that way. So all of that is like a step that comes after you meet that person, right? Like it's a deal that you make with someone that you already love, that you already want to spend your entire life with. But this process makes it goes back to that milestone checklist view of marriage,
That
which
you
is that
start
something you
looking to
have
have
to
that,
do.
then you look for a person
Yeah, and
like
then
that.
you retrofit the person into that, milestone in your life that you're supposed to get to.
Yeah.
So that's why I have a big disconnect with arranged marriage. It's like if slash when I meet someone and we both, first of all, how to meet someone who gets you and is on the same page and wants the same things and all of that. If all of that works out magically, and then we decide we're going to spend our lives together, great. That is the only circumstance under which I'm going to get married. I
Hmm.
am not, I have zero interest in retrofitting somebody into a life milestone.
Yeah. I feel like we as a generation of people, like 90s onwards, we're pretty clear about what we want. Like there is this set of not standards, I would say, but this set of criteria that we have in our head for what's acceptable and what I'm not willing to compromise for. We as a generation are willing to compromise a lot less than our parents and the previous generation and stuff. And one thing that no one is talking about is, I mean, I don't know, frankly, because I don't know what people are talking about this show. But one thing I found very endearing that I haven't heard anyone mention also is all the couples they showed in the beginning of every episode.
So
Randomly.
good.
I swear, they were so adorable. Like, I mean, there's
Such
something to be
goals,
said.
man.
Yeah. I mean, this creator, the creator of the show, hats off to her, man. Like, she has created something fabulous.
Yeah.
Like,
She's created a cult classic, dude. This,
absolutely.
yeah,
I
cult
cannot
classic.
wait. I cannot wait to be on season 2. Oh, sorry, did I say be on? I mean, watch season 2.
Would you go through it? I would
um,
love to,
I was
honestly.
thinking
I'm
about it. Like,
curious. Yeah.
sorry?
I'm super curious to see who they would set me up with.
Yeah, even I'm super
Because I
curious.
would totally be season 2's Aparna and be like, here's the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Now go nuts.
Yeah, Riddhi
Down
has
to
a, like a
the
really
and
cool point here. Nobody
specifications.
talked about them. They were the best. I think she's talking about like the older couples and all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
why
was,
is everyone like appreciative of that?
there was
Like
another
that's such a
comment actually.
wholesome idea.
Yeah. Is it superficial to not want to be with someone like Vyasar because I want my partner to be just as driven and financially secure as me? Absolutely not. Financial security is the least shallow thing you can think about when looking for a partner. And like other than I just talked about it earlier, where both of us are freelancers and career and income stability is a big part of what we think about in terms of our own lives and in terms of the people that we're meeting. So it's
Hmm.
absolutely not like finances are something you have to discuss ahead of time. Like especially if one person is in a lot of debt, if one person has some serious financial commitments like long-term illnesses, or oh wow, this is becoming like a whole TED talk on how to figure out your finances for marriage. But anyway, like you have to discuss any major financial commitments and make sure you're on the same page about it, because the last thing you want is to be married to somebody and then find out that like they're in crippling debt.
Yeah, that happens, and because the thing is that even like for example, you said na when you went to this marriage and someone said, oh, they have 3 Mercedes, like हाँ वो तीनों पे loan है, mortgage है, ये कोई नहीं बताएगा आपको. So
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
this is not because of दिखावा. People tend to do all this shit, and people like going ahead taking loans for their marriage and all that. That's just bloody ridiculous. But the point is that yeah, of course, I mean, see, everybody has different priorities. I mean, if financial security and importance is like important for you and your criteria, yeah, man, no one else should judge you on that. You know,
Yeah.
when I was working as an engineer and I decided like to quit one day, and it was the most bizarre thing because everybody around me had a plan. Everybody around me thought, oh, 5 years later I'll be like managing this project. 10 years later I'll be in this person's role doing this and all of that, and this is how my life is going to proceed. Marriage probably comes in year 7. Everything was set. So when I told people I had quit, they said, oh, okay, so you've obviously got admission into some university abroad or something. I said, no. He said, "Oh, so have you like got another job already?" I said, "No." And they were like, "So then what are you going to do? I mean, जैसे कि life में यही दो option है और कुछ है ही नहीं." They're like, "What?"
Dude.
Yeah, but I understood where they came from because it was very, very difficult for people who to understand and embrace the fact that like financial security was so important for them. They were not prepared to grapple with the concept of someone willfully going for it because they had different priorities. You know.
Yeah.
And here's where I feel like our generation, we take a lot of things for granted. I steadfastly stand by that, because the generation above us, a lot of people, their parents, the people who raise them have worked so hard to put them in a position where they can have these aspirational problems, where they can afford to say financial security is either an issue or not an issue. I want the person to be a good person. How many marriages do you know of where people are just not able to say or move on with their lives because they don't know what they want to do? How many relationships do you know like that? Forget marriages. So I feel this went on to a completely bizarre.
Yeah, mic drop, dude. Mic drop. Like, damn. That was intense.
These are like, I'm not trying to say like there's something right or wrong, but I think it's not fair or it's not right to sit on some different point. Sit from your place where you're coming from in life and look at another person's point of view and say, oh, it's right for them to have this criteria. It's not right for them to have this criteria. Or not.
Yeah.
It's your criteria because you're the person who's going to be spending time with the person. So if you are not willing to date when men or women above 5'6" in height, that's your life. That's fine.
Feeling attacked.
I mean, I'm just saying if like, yeah.
5'11" and above only, just saying that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm small.
But huh?
No, I'm 6 feet, so I'm apparently at a high risk of getting infected by the virus also.
Yeah, I saw that. That's quite interesting.
Science.
But when talking about quitting, when I was moving back from the US to India, I mean, I've been plotting it for a long time, right? And then finally I decided to I made all the arrangements, etc. And then I started telling my colleagues. And I think out of 4 out of 5 people that I told, at that rate, 4 and 5 people said, "Oh, are you getting married? Is that why you're moving back to India?"
See, that's a question I would never have been asked.
Yes,
that's a question
you have been asked if you got into college or if you got another job.
Yeah.
But I was not asked if I got another job. I was not asked if I'm going for my higher education. I was only asked if I'm getting married. Because why else would someone downgrade their lifestyle from America to India?
Yeah.
So there's that also.
Perspective.
And I had to tell all of them, no, I am not. I'm not getting married.
This is, on a different like on a slightly different tangent, I've had this conversation sometimes with some of my friends, and I've asked them, I've tried to talk to them and find out what they feel about mental health for men and stuff. And it's very difficult for women in general, I've noticed. I'm talking about 95% of the reactions women have when I talk to them about mental health for men, just to know their opinion, is like, what problems do you have? Like, you're a guy, what problems can you have? And at some level, I began to feel like that's not fair.
That's not fair.
But at another level, I kind of get where they're coming from. I'll tell you why. Because as a woman, there's something I read the other day that you it's not even possible to count the amount of times you get lectured at or you get behaved with in a way that you don't want, that you don't choose. So, and 99% of the time it's from men. So to sensitize women to the issues that men may have, you are not in a frame of mind, you're not coming from a place where you are willing to accept, understandably so, where you would want to say, okay, yeah, like the half of the population that's treating others like shit right now, maybe they have some mental issues that they're dealing with as well. So that's where they're coming from. So, there's no right and wrong in this. There's just like, you're coming from there, I'm coming from here, this is my perspective and that's yours.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's applicable to so many different factors that influence all of our lives, right? Like you could apply that similar logic to privilege. Like who
Yeah.
am I as a privileged, able-bodied, conventionally attractive, light-skinned woman? Who am I to talk about feminism when I go through maybe a fraction of what some, like maybe a Dalit woman goes through, or a handicapped woman goes through, or a dark-skinned woman goes through? Like I have privileges that maybe a dark-skinned handicapped man doesn't have. So there's so many of these factors to take into consideration that, I feel like we all have to do a better job of empathizing with other people's problems and understanding that everybody has their own problems, and also recognizing that you have privileges. All of us have a certain amount of privilege, like being English speaking, being in raised in households where reading was a habit, being, quote unquote allowed to pursue the arts as a
Yeah, yeah.
career choice. These are all privileges
Or
that we
having
have.
that
And
choice, that matter,
yeah,
as an
exactly. So
ability.
I think even before you start to see things from someone else's perspective, you have to stop and look at yourself and understand how many check boxes you have that someone else might not have. Yes,
Hmm.
so many comments, intersectionality. Yes, queens, intersectionality. It's all about that. Yeah. So I think that's applicable to so many areas of life. And I think, was that touched upon in the show at all? I don't think so.
Yeah, in a way, like I mean, when they spoke about what people want and the partner's finance, it came down to a lot of the times the financial stability and the financial aspect of things, which understandable, man. Like it's very very understandable, and again priorities for people. But
Yeah.
I feel like along with empathy, the we're very quick to judge, and with the outlets that we have, I don't think like these things have just become concepts that people talk about that they don't understand and they don't act on.
They don't practice. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Apparently,
I mean
we are the
talk
most
about
sensible thing on Instagram today.
this is despite this filter that you had on for the last 55
How?
minutes. This is insane. This is quite an achievement. This is quite an
I know,
achievement.
right?
Yeah, yeah. This is killer, man.
Actually, sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead and complete your thought.
What was I saying? Um, yeah. So I feel like
Financial.
yeah. So you look. The point is, you may have an issue with me or someone not taking up a cause or not speaking out or commenting on somebody else, say having different priorities in life, but it's really not your problem. There is no need to champion causes all the time. My simple thing is that if you are championing, if everybody you see 95% of people today are championing some cause or the other, okay, why is the world not getting better? Why
It
are we
is,
not living in
though.
utopia?
It is. It is.
I feel like yeah, but it would be, I mean, arguably, if everyone lived the sensibility that they portray, I feel like there would be a lot,
It would
like
be
if
fast.
people walk the
It
talk,
would be a catalyst for sure.
yeah, it would be a
Right.
catalyst.
Yeah.
I
We
don't
only
feel
have,
like it's all going to shit or anything like that, but
yeah.
I definitely think if people did that, it would be a
Yeah.
lot better. Someone
Yeah.
said, the guy with his backpack said, you guys should write and produce Indian matchmaking version to touch up on these subjects.
Yes. Somebody pitch us. Tag Netflix India in this.
Tag Netflix
Okay.
India in this.
We only have 4 minutes left, and I don't want this to like end super abruptly, but
Yeah,
I love that thought that you ended on, which is that we are way too quick to judge. Each person has their own layers of things that they are dealing with, that they want from life. Dude,
yeah,
I used to think that like weddings were such a huge waste of money, but now I'm like, if you can find someone that you legitimately want to spend the rest of your life with,
yeah.
please throw a party. You deserve it.
You
Because I don't know
deserve it,
how you
exactly.
found this person and how you both agreed to want
Yeah,
to spend your entire lives together.
yeah,
That's the next
absolutely.
level. Like I
Absolutely.
can't even at this point in time, I can't even imagine that. I mean, I have trouble keeping my plants alive, dude. Where will I keep a relationship alive for my whole life?
But then again, I mean, if and when you get there, then you know it'll all make sense because then you'll be looking at it from that point of view. So, who's to say?
Who is to say?
Maybe like a big, lavish, like Taparia themed wedding would be exactly what you end up for.
Oh my God. I will say I kind of really liked her yellow outfit. So, a
She should
Tabaria
just
themed
do
wedding
that,
is
man.
not a horrible
She's so
idea.
sensible. She's just providing a service for a market that exists, and she's doing her best. I felt like there's something really admirable in that woman. That is my
Team
takeaway from
Seema
the show.
Auntie. I'm going to make you a t-shirt. I'll
Yeah,
send it to you.
I'll
It
wear it
says
also.
Team Seema Auntie. Yeah. For
Yeah,
the
yeah,
next
yeah.
one. All right. So
For
we
sure.
are running out of time. Thank you, Advait, for this.
Thank
It was
you,
very good
Urvashi
to get
and
the other
Pimpleshwar.
perspective.
I don't know if I'll see you again, Pimplesh, but it was very good.
Bye.
Ruff, ruff, ruff. Thank you everyone for joining in. This was quite a conversation. I feel like we opened up a
Yes.
lot of Pandora's boxes also. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm looking
And we
forward to the
will
next.
find a tangent for next week to go on.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk. All right.
Actually,
See you
can we
guys. And
talk
thank
about
you so much.
can we talk
Sorry?
about consent next week?
Consent.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Okay. We'll make it.
I'll
I'll
consent
put
to
you in later.
Yeah.
You can send to that. Thank you.
All right. See you guys. Good night. And this was a good talk. Thank you, Urvashi.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, everybody. This will be available on my Instagram profile. It'll be on my IGTV, so you can join there. Share, comment, tag Netflix India. Hopefully, Advait and I will get on the show because that will be really funny. But yes, that's it. We're almost out of time. Thank you for joining, and thank you for the comments and questions. And we will see you soon. Bye.